BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline proves and provides everything that you want in terms of the action and the ability to watch all the games that are happening at the moment. Of course, you have the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, and MMA. So head over to BetOnline today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bleav in Bengals podcast. My heart is breaking because that's what we had. A heartbreak in Hollywood in the Sunday night game as the Cincinnati Bengals went to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. These are two teams that really would be battling one another for positioning in the wild card round, given the fact that the Bengals have already taken on a lot of water. They needed this game on Sunday night. And so when they were down by 21 points, you could sense that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins, they were battling for their playoff lives. That's why they would score 21 straight points. They would score 3 straight possessions. They would score touchdowns on those drives, end up tying the game at 27 apiece, but broke my heart when we couldn't tackle J.K. Dobbins on a 26-yard touchdown run. The Chargers get the win. There's no way Justin Herbert is as good as Joe Burrow. And I think Joe Burrow proved it in this game. Once again, throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. For the 4th time this season, he's done that, and the Bengals have lost the game. He's done it in more games, but he's done it 4 times, and they still lost. That's because of defense, man. We can't tackle. We can't cover. I'm saying prayers up, though, for DJ Turner, who had one heck of a game, had to leave the game with the clavicle injury. Hope you're okay, my friend. Hope you make it back. Josh Newton, the rookie, came in, was playing a great game at the cornerback position. I think Cincinnati Bengals are going to have to start get some production out of these young guys. We're going to talk about that, but Bengals did lose again, 4-7 now, falling 27-34 on the road. We're now joined by our Bleav in Bengals insider, Charlie Goldsmith, joining us on the show. And Charlie, look, the Sunday night game for me anyway was like heartbreak in Hollywood. We went to SoFi Stadium looking to sort of right a lot of wrongs. This is an AFC team that we're going to be battling. If we're going to be in the playoff picture, we're going to need positioning over the LA Chargers. And after scoring on 3 straight drives in the second half to tie the game at 27 apiece, we couldn't do anything on the next 4 possessions. We got 0 points out of that. Help me to understand what the hell happened.
Well, let's just repeat last week's show or the show after, the Patriots game or the Chiefs game or the first Ravens game, because it's just the same issues that pop over and over again. It's Burrow and Jamar and T and Trey Hendrickson. One difference yesterday was that, Burrow and Chase missed some plays that they needed to make down the stretch. I don't want to criticize them too much because of how well they're playing, but that deep ball in particular is something they've got to hit on. But then aside from those stars, it's just a unit that consistently takes steps back, that gets out-schemed, outplayed, loses one-on-one matchups, misses tackles, and misses kicks yesterday in the biggest moments of the season. It's all the same stuff that we've been talking about since September.
Yeah, the J.K. Dobbins 26-yard run for a touchdown was very disappointing because you had multiple times to get him on the ground, but they couldn't make the tackle. And at that point, I'm thinking it's going to be hard to win this game now because not only you didn't just give them like a field goal, you gave them a touchdown. The best we could do is tie it at the end of regulation. So that was very heartbreaking. The Bengals have now dropped to 4-7. Where do they go from here? I heard after the game, Zac Taylor said the season's not over, but right now that playoff light is flickering and it looks like it's losing energy.
Yeah, I mean, this was their chance to get back in the race. And it's funny, like, what is a best case scenario? Well, look at the Bengals' schedule down the stretch. Russell Wilson's the best quarterback they face. It'll be a bunch of winnable games. I don't expect them to make a huge run, but there is no world where the defense changes the way we think about them between now and the end of the season. I don't care if they hold Russell Wilson and Bo Nix and Jameis Winston to like an average of 6 points a game. When you look at the quality and caliber of offenses some below average to maybe slightly average offenses the Bengals are going to be facing down the stretch. That made the Chargers game really their last chance to make a kind of statement against a great offense. Yeah. The opposite happened. They made a statement that everything we've been saying about the Bengals defense was true, and now they won't get a chance to change that, and probably for that reason, the Bengals won't be making the playoffs.
I'm going to throw out some names, and Charlie, look, you're our insider. I want you to walk me through each person and tell me what hangs in the balance for the next iteration of players that the Bengals have used draft picks on these guys, and now it's time to show. I've been in this position as a rookie. Didn't play a whole lot at the beginning of my rookie year, but by the time we got to the end, when the losses started to mount, I remember telling Eric Thomas, they're going to be looking to see what we got. If they want to get better in the future, you turn to those young players, say, you know what, it's your turn. You turn to Myles Murphy for the remaining 6 games to see what he's got. To guys like Josh Newton and DJ Turner and Jordan Battle and certainly Jermaine Burton. What do you got? When you hear those names, walk me through each guy to tell me what the coaches are looking to get from those guys in these final 6 games.
Well, Burton, it's an interesting one to start with because it felt like he was getting his shot as basically the number 3 receiver as the starter. And then, he doesn't get the hand up on the ball on the goal line. I feel like there was another sloppy play in there. It might've been that go route. He didn't finish down the sideline. And after that, I think he only ended up playing like 18 snaps. His role reduced significantly. So wasn't Jermaine Burton taking advantage of the opportunity? Myles Murphy, I think, needs to be getting more and more snaps. But also, I don't know that he's went out and earned and is going out to take more and more snaps with the performance that he had. Josh Newton had kind of been by default getting more opportunities because of how much Turner and Cam Taylor-Britt were struggling. Newton played great, maybe the best individual performance we've seen by a Bengals corner this year. He'll probably continue to expand. I have a question for you, though. What do you tell Cam Taylor-Britt when he's having the run he's on? You're a safety. Your teammates, let's say, what do you tell him when he's in such a mental state that he's in where he's not playing with a lot of confidence?
First of all, it's how you get there, right? I think you gotta have answers for players, especially in the secondary, to say this is how you got here, and this is where you're at, and now this is how you get back. Because when you can explain to a player how you got yourself into this trouble, that's when they begin to listen a little bit better. And Cam Taylor-Britt is a phenomenal player. I don't feel different than I felt about him coming into the season, because what I knew is that he takes chances. He is someone who's willing to gamble to make a play. And as you see, he became a playmaker in the secondary over his first 2 seasons. Problem is what happens, undisciplined things begins to creep in your game. The opponent looks and they can tell you're a gambler and a guesser. So you're going to get more double moves. You're going to get more double routes. Teams are going to force you to become more disciplined. And so now you got to start to pick your spots. So what I would say is, let's just be a basic fundamental football player. Can you do that for me? Can you just be he is a good tackler. I know but he's not a consistent good tackler right now. So I'm going to get him to be more consistent at the things I know he's good at. He's a very aggressive jam guy at the point of contact. He knows how to stay topside of wide receivers in press coverage. Problem is he wants to jump that combo route that's associated with the route that the primary guy that he's covering is running. He wants to jump that ancillary route. And then his guy ends up getting away, gets 2-3 steps ahead of him, right? So it's a matter of just pulling the focus back. And I'll be honest with you, I thought last night might have did him some good. Coming off the field for a little bit. Let's go. Let's watch the other guys play. DJ Turner making plays, doing it the right way. Josh Newton making plays, doing it the right way, right? Now he sees what we value. He knows that you're not going to play if you don't do it the right way. So, and then I'm watching him every day in practice to make sure these things are getting through. That's how you rebuild a player, because you cannot lose him. He is a good player. He is capable of doing really good things. We also see that when you're undisciplined, I don't care who you are and at what position you are, if you break down, it's going to hurt the football team. And so they've got to be able to get him back in that positive mindset by stacking memorable, good, positive moments every day in practice to the point where you can get him in games and to see those positive things occur as well.
So one of the big moments on the broadcast last night was Jermaine Pratt after the touchdown where it looked like there was a miscommunication the Cam was a part of, and he's being upfront with him. Jermaine Pratt, captain on the team, is, I don't want to say yelling at him, but certainly there was a tone there. Are those things productive? What do those types of conversations do?
That's a good question. I don't think they're productive at all, because I think it was more of and that's why you saw Zac Taylor trying to get Jermaine Pratt to calm down. It wasn't Cam Taylor-Britt losing his cool. It wasn't any of the safeties, Von Bell losing his cool, or, it was the seam route that they hit Will Dissly on. The safety didn't get there. In fact, Cam Taylor-Britt had it better covered than the safety, who never even got there on the play. And so he's yelling at the wrong guy, right? He doesn't understand what the coverage is calling for and who was responsible. He just knows that Cam's been having some tough moments, so it had to be your fault, right? So you go to yelling at one guy. Very disruptive, very dysfunctional, and it can lead to either greater problems. It tells you and reveals to you, and I have all the great respect for Jermaine Pratt. He is one of the leaders on this team, and he has a right to get guys in check, right? But it tells you that the confidence that he has in his teammates in the secondary is breaking down. That's what that moment revealed. And that's why the coach was trying to get, hey, I need you to keep it together. I get the way that you feel, but we can't have you yet. This is not how it gets fixed. This is not the constructive way to get this done. I think at halftime, I think you do have to pull guys aside. I think that's the kind of stuff you got to take care of that during the week. You don't take care of it in the heat of battle on Sundays by yelling at your teammates. I am flat out telling you, it just doesn't work. You can't, because then what happens when you miss a tackle? Because that's what happened. Jermaine Pratt allowed the ball to get back inside him. Now, what if he comes to yell at you? You're not going to like it, because no one plays perfectly. We all make mistakes, but we all have to really support one another at our worst times when we're not performing as well. I got to ask you this before we let you go. If you were to maybe be the guy going over to listen to the press conferences, listening to what management is saying, you got 6 games left. The team's 4-7 and a 17-game regular season schedule. What are you trying to accomplish in these final 6 games? I know you're trying to win, but you can do 2 things at once, right? You got to be able to develop talent. It's clear we're going to lose some guys who are some of our best players, and it's not clear who we're replacing them with, Charlie.
So what this season was always going to be about, and Zac Taylor said this in January, and I think I've said this to you before, is developing the next generation of leaders on the Bengals team. And I think you've seen Joe and Jamar step into bigger leadership roles than they've been in. Yep. But really I want to see is, like, we were just talking about Jermaine Pratt. He is a captain. Can he be a guy who steps up and becomes more of a tone setter and an even bigger culture setter, the type of presence the defense desperately needs? Can Logan Wilson be that guy, a guy who's done some of that in the past, who hasn't been as much in that front and center vocal role this year? Can you see some more of that from him? Jordan Battle was drafted for his, the top line on his scouting report was his intangibles as a safety. Can he be a guy who starts to take more ownership in the types of conversations about what the defense is trying to be on the offensive line? Does Marius Mims start to step up more? Cordell Volson, kind of as you expect, maybe an Alex Capper or Ted Karras, they're kind of get into a later stage of their career. Can you start to see the young guys take more ownership of what the team is and the type of mentality they want to play with? They need to win games, and the Bengals need to keep doing that too.
Tee Higgins, his stock keeps rising. Jamar Chase, his stock keeps rising. We don't have these 2 players under long-term contracts. I know people thinking, Jamar's not going anywhere. If you don't have him under long-term contract, then I'm not going to give people benefit of the doubt here anymore. I'm not doing it anymore, Charlie. So I need to know. We're watching some of our best players perform for the market. They're performing for the Bengals. There's no doubt about it. I mean, these 2 guys are to be commended with the way they were targeted 13 times each last night. Tee Higgins goes over 100 yards, receiving 100-48. Jamar gets 2 touchdowns in this game. We couldn't ask more of them. So why aren't they in our long-term plans?
I'm still in the Bengals should pay Tee Higgins camp. I don't expect them to, but like look at the game last night where like the story should have been the Bengals win, and the turning point was that one drive where Higgins had that route towards the sideline, through the penalty, makes the physical catch, then draws a flag, another flag down in the red zone to get another big conversion, and then the blitz leading to a slant to Jamar, who's going to win that matchup every day. Then the deep ball to Higgins on the double move. Terrific double move, great route running. Oh, and by the way, they were selling out to stop Jamar, so T had room to work with. Like I've always looked at that as like a better together type of identity. There's just so much power to me in having Higgins and Chase on the field together. Add in the fact that, you know, now that you're probably not giving Cam Taylor-Britt an extension this offseason, the Bengals need to invest in the players they believe in being a long-term part of the core. And while Tee Higgins has had the soft tissue problems, Higgins is their fourth best player, I guess, behind Trey Hendrickson. Higgins is about everything that they're about. I'm still in the pay Tee Higgins camp. And last night's what should have been the comeback was a reminder of how far he goes in those types of games.
And here's the deal. I'm not selling the farm on those two players, Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins, because they want to be here. They want to extend their careers with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow wants them here. And I think we've got to begin to have a conversation, Charlie, about the human aspect of the game. The best organizations care about their players and who they are as people. There's this saying out there that came from Mike Tomlin: we want volunteers, not hostages. What he's talking about is we want players who truly want to be here. The Bengals have those guys, but they're starting to lose that love because they don't see it being reciprocated. And they're starting to say to Joe Burrow, hey, man, we want to be here with you, but it doesn't look like they want us with the same alacrity, with the same energy that we want them. And I do believe that it's got to be part of how you do business as an organization. The best organizations recognize who their most valuable people are, not just valuable players, but a DJ Reader in the locker room, he's a valuable person. Okay. You can say he's got a bad leg. He's when Andrew Whitworth left us, he maybe wasn't our best offensive lineman, but he was our best person. So when are we going to start to get that part of it right? Because I do believe we've got some of those decisions hanging in the balance this offseason, Charlie.
Do you think it impacts the locker room as a whole when they see Jamar and T not get paid?
Of course it does. I don't even have to guess at that. Because players say, well, if they'll do that to T, why don't they do that to me? If they'll do that. And then you know what happens? Players in our league, I was one of them. We talk to everybody. We talk to guys in our locker room, guys in the next locker room. We talk to guys all around the league. We got buddies from college, buddies that we grew up with playing all around this league. Hey, man, how do you guys how do they treat you guys when you guys are in oh, man, they tell me they send flowers to my wife, my kids. You know, I had a baby, man. They sent a basket in the delivery room, man. They take care of us, man. Oh, they love us. Hey, they don't do that for you guys? I'm just saying. And I'm not saying the Bengals don't do these things. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's the bar. That's where the bar is. That's the expectation. And I know our fans don't know a lot about these 32 teams, as you well know, they all have different culture. They all have different personalities. They all have different philosophies on what you do and don't do for your players, right? And so I'm just saying that that's what today's players in this league are having conversations about as they're determining, do they want to stay or do they want to go? And they do have options. They do. This league has brought that to players. They have options. I want to see players preferring to be here in Cincinnati because I know they have a quarterback that they want to stay and play with. I want this to be an organization that they want to be here and that they're made to feel that they're very important as well.
Great point, especially as we start to kind of think more about the offseason with the Bengals being 4-7 is we're going to spend the next 6 months talking about what free agents can they sign? Who can they bring in that's going to change the whole thing? And in 2022, let's say the Bengals, Orlando Brown took less money to sign for the Bengals. That was one of the biggest free agency wins that the Bengals have had. Are they in a spot where they can recreate that, where the sell is as good as it was 2 years ago? Or like, look at the 2020 Bengals. Most of these moves ended up working out. What the 2020 Bengals had to do was overpay DJ Reader. Phenomenal Bengals career, ended up working out, but it was an overpay at the time. Overpay Trey Waynes, massive failure. Overpay Trey Hendrickson, again, massive success. But anyone at the time would have said that was an overpay based on who Trey had been. I'll throw in Von Bell, who was basically cast off by the New Orleans Saints. Like, are you going to have to do the whole overpay / cast off thing again in free agency, as opposed to the get a 4-time Pro Bowler on a discount thing that you're supposed to be doing when you have a franchise quarterback who guys want to sign up to be a part of? I think they're more in the old 2020 part of this side with free agency than they are the 2022 side. And man, that's where, one, you're supposed to be, and two, where you need to be, when you're paying Joe and you're preparing to pay Jamar.
Charlie, we got to let you go. My parting shot is take care of the guys you draft who perform at a high level. If you drafted the Tee Higgins, if you drafted a Jamar Chase, and they're playing or Jesse Bates, and they're playing at a high level, those are the guys you keep. Those are the guys who are going to be the most loyal. Those are the guys who are less like a mercenary. Those are the guys who are going to always be thankful, like I am, that the Bengals were the ones who drafted me. There wasn't another team who drafted me. They were the ones. So they always are the one who hold a special place in my heart. And I want these Bengals to feel the same way. Charlie, you are the best. We appreciate you, man. Hey, we're going to be having you on with us on a weekly basis. Everyone should know you are our Bleav in Bengals insider. So we appreciate you stopping by today to share with us your thoughts. All the best to you, my friend. You take care.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
Well, it's time to name our performer of the week from the Week 11 contest between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Chargers. First of all, it's brought to you by the great people at French Creek Roofing, Greater Cincinnati's choice for roofing, windows, and siding. You need new roof, you need new windows, check in with the people at French Creek Roofing. They'll get you taken care of. For me, the performer of the week has to go to Tee Higgins. Did you see Tee Higgins was splitting double teams on a 42-yard bomb right down the middle of the field? That was double team coverage, but it was great route running. Great on the double move by Tee Higgins. He was targeted 13 times for 9 catches, 148 yards, and, of course, the 42-yard touchdown. Tee Higgins is a bad dude. He makes the offense go. And I know Jamar Chase is the straw that stirs the drink. Well, that straw can't stir when he's in double coverage all the time. And the only way that you can get Jamar loose is to make sure that you're having a steady dose to Tee Higgins, a steady dose to your tight ends, a steady dose to Chase Brown. Because once you do that, but you got to have another receiver to complement what Jamar Chase brings to the table. Because when you can do that, now you're getting Jamar Chase open. He had 7 catches on the night. He had 2 touchdown receptions, held under 100 yards receiving, but it didn't matter. He had a couple of touchdowns. Should have had a third, by the way. Joe Burrow didn't see him come open. They were trying to jam him in the slot. The guys collided. And Jamar Chase sitting over there wide open, man. Just goes to show you, nobody's perfect. Not even the great Joe Burrow. It's okay, Joe. I know you harder on yourself than most people are, my friend. You're doing your thing. Really great game for the offense. I think for the quarterback, for Joe Burrow, for the receivers. Look, our defense is getting better. Just got to do better, man. Because early in the game, Justin Herbert was having his way to the tune of the fact they scored 24 points at halftime. Hey, 24-6 at halftime. The Chargers were giving it to us. But Lou Anarumo's group did get it together in the second half. They should be given a lot of credit for the stops they got late in the game to allow us to get back in it. They even got the ball back for us after Logan Wilson forced a fumble by Justin Herbert. The defense did get us the ball back. We just couldn't get it in. Our last 4 drives on offense, we got 0 points to show. I think we were only 2 for 4 down inside the red zone. And Evan McPherson, my friend, we got to talk. He missed 2 field goals in the fourth quarter that could have sealed the deal, could have won the game. As we look ahead here on the Bleav in Bengal podcast, which is brought to you, of course, by the lovely people at Midwest Hospice, if you're dealing with the final days of a loved one, we know it can be difficult, very overwhelming. Well, trust the people who give phenomenal care at Midwest Hospice. You want to call them. They've been taking care of Cincinnati for over the last 10 years. Cincinnati Bengals are headed into a bye week. So as we look ahead, you want to understand what they need to do. First of all, get some rest. Take it easy, guys. Get healthy. 6 games to finish it out. And we still got to play the Cleveland Browns. We got to play the Pittsburgh Steelers twice. That's right, twice. And so in our final 6 games, I want to see Myles Murphy start to get to the quarterback. I hope DJ Turner is healthy enough to come back because I want to see the young guys now getting some snaps in that secondary. I want to see Jordan Battle start to do what Jordan Battle did when he was at Alabama. I want to see Josh Newton get in there and do the things that we saw him do in the Sunday night game against the LA Chargers. We got to begin to now groom players so that they're tried and true and ready for battle coming into next season. I would need to see some of our younger players starting to come through in major situations, like an Andre Yoshivage. Yosh, man, he comes through. You give him enough opportunities, this dude's going to keep making plays. Jermaine Burton's got to be able to come through. He's got 6 games to show us that he is what we thought he was, right? When we used the 3rd round pick to take him in this last draft. So we got some young players that certainly is going to be given some opportunities. We want to see those young players come through. More importantly, man, I got to see them winning some games. I got to see some fight. I got to see better tackling. I got to see guys hustling to the ball. This is where you build your identity as a football team. Okay, playoffs are not done. Even Zac Taylor said we're not done yet. No one's writing off the season. But, man, you got to come out and play hard. You got to come out. Those are the players that I look at and we begin to evaluate at this time. Who are the guys who are playing like it means something to them? That's Trey Hendrickson. That's Joe Burrow. That's Jamar Chase. That's Tee Higgins. You know who that is? That's Chase Brown. That dude runs the ball like it means something to him. He's one of our young players that's flat out bringing it. All right, we want you to keep bringing it. Don't forget to join us again next time. We want to thank our very own Charlie Goldsmith, our Bleav in Bengals insider, for joining us today. Don't forget to catch up with us next time.